Well, welcome to the Montana Real Estate Channel, brought to you by Siphers Family Real Estate. We've been helping folks move into and around the state of Montana since 1966. We'd love to be a resource for you, and all the contact information is down below. And in today's video, we're going to have a conversation with one of Western Montana's best and brightest land developers from Hamilton, Brad Mildenberger. Brad is the son of Harold Mildenberger, who also was involved with Brad in a number of very luxurious subdivisions and developments here in the Bitterroot Valley. So you want to stay with us through the entire video, and let's have a conversation with Brad. Hi, I'm Craig Siphers, and I'm here today with Brad Mildenberger, and this is our podcast sponsored by Siphers Family Real Estate since 1966 and Exit Realty Bitterroot Valley. Brad, thanks for being here.
No, it's great. I appreciate it.
What I want to do is you and I talked a little earlier about kind of the content of what we could talk about, because you were talking about your dad, my dad, and you and I, and we go way, way back.
Oh boy, we've had the opportunity, Greg, in Ravalli County to see the valley really start to prosper. And just in the last, 10 years, we've seen it go from 40,000 people to 50,000 people in the valley. But I get a big kick. I think back at your father back, it was 1965, 1966. I used to be sweeping our old Quonset hut at the old C&M Motor Company.
Right.
And I go out there one day, and your dad comes rolling in with that big roar of laughter as he buys himself a brand new Eldorado. So he no more gets home that night, and he piles it up. And of course, he was our insurance agent, but he piled it up without insurance.
Great.
And never forget him coming back in and pick out another Cadillac Eldorado the next day. And he just said, "Don't tell the wife."
Just keep that quiet. There's a number of good stories, but I want to focus on, tell me a little of the history about the Mildenbergers in the valley.
Yeah, it's a lot of things I didn't know till about 10 years ago. My dad had a sister and a brother, and my dad came here, I'll be close on this, when he was around, I suppose, 4 years old.
Okay.
And their family went broke in the Depression, and they were from North Dakota.
Okay.
And they got here to pick raspberries. So some of the beets factories and raspberries they had is actually in the old Exit building. That's the workout facility over by the ballpark.
Right.
Matter of fact, I found my father's name in there back when they had tore it down, and Todd Lindsay had bought it and redid it the way it is today. But my dad figured out long ago that it wasn't going to work very well picking apples and raspberries. So at a young age, he was really a goer.
Right.
His mother worked in chicken coops. I think 25 cents an hour was a pretty good wage back then. And my grandfather was Phil. He was $7 a day putting the railroad ties here through on the railroad. So my dad had a lot of different things going on. He figured out with Lee Enterprises the fact that he could go in and people wouldn't pay for their newspapers. So he ultimately basically created the Black Eye Club. You worked for him or you got a black eye. And he took over all the newspapers and went to Lee Enterprises. Everything that people owe you, if I can get 70%, I'll collect the money.
Yeah.
So he was a goer in that. In 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, he was in his own Model T and going to the reservations where cotton candy machines, where the Indians had money. And he could have come home with a lot of change in the back of the Model T, and along the way they'd have smokers fights.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he would jump right in the middle of that.
Yeah, he was quite a boxer.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal boxer. Great great story along the way is he couldn't wait to get to the armed forces.
Right.
Just couldn't wait to get there to fight the Korean War. He thought this was going to be really wonderful. Found out differently at a later date. But my mother, they were together since third grade.
Yeah.
And they're married, I think, 73 years.
Yeah, wow.
Or more. Dad passed away last August 4th.
Right.
Of a year and a half ago or so.
Well, about just a little over a year.
Yeah. So he was able to, he got stationed at Adak, Alaska, and ultimately through a squabble he had with one of the MPs, led him to a fighting match that he in Anchorage Army Navy, and head of the Army Navy for the all Navy team came to him and asked, "Would you like to come to San Diego and fight for the all Navy team?" And he did, and he became all Navy champ, Golden Glove. He was alternate to the Olympics. He broke his hand going into the Olympics in Helsinki in 1952.
Oh.
So, quite a career. Came back to the car business he got into. Very interesting story.
But before, when he was, how old was he, Brad? He bought his folks a house.
Yeah, he was, probably 11 or 12. He put together, at that time, he bought a pretty decent home for $1,100, which in today's money would be like $1.1 million. And he was able to, and a matter of fact, from where we're sitting right now, that house isn't far. It's where the Cleaners is right next over in the corner here in Hamilton.
Right.
And that was my grandma and grandpa's home. I can remember going there, and in the backyards was the cherries from the Parker family. Johnny Parker, and now Tommy runs the cherries from the orchard.
Yeah.
And so that building, I have a lot of history in playing around in this building right
next to us.
Right next to it.
Yeah, the cannery, huh? Wow.
So I've had the opportunity through my father. Our family had probably 65 ranches throughout Montana, Idaho, Minnesota, different ranches. He loved land. And he was a trader. He loved cattle. His dream was to have his own cattle ranch, and we're very fortunate to end up at the Bitterroot Stock Farm with the relationship with the Bessonnet family, a wonderful, wonderful family. To work with Francis Bessonnet is as fine a gentleman as you'd ever meet, and we had a opportunity that we were able to buy it. I'm very fortunate, and we've held it together to this day. We've actually added to it. The only thing we have pulled out was 2,600 acres that did the Stock Farm Golf Club that is, kind of a renowned national
Yeah,
place.
right.
No question about it. It's one of the best private courses in the country.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much, you've just hit on so many things there, and we're talking about he comes back from being in the Navy, gets involved in the auto business. It was C&M at the time, was it?
Yeah, he started to work for Charlie Stevens, which was the Buick dealer. Charlie's a great guy, and he went out on his own, and how he put together the car dealership was quite an interesting story of itself. Not to get into it, but it got a little bit rough. He got an education in business. He thought he bought the whole business, and the guy goes, "Well, you haven't paid for the franchise yet." And it went from one thing to the other. Finally, he got it done. He hung him out where Ford's store is. He hung the guy by his heels outside the window and said, "You're going to sign the paper, or you're going to have a serious problem."
Well, there's some other
He was a
stories.
tough guy.
Yeah.
He was a knockout artist. He was... I've seen many a squabble. He was never one really to pick a fight. It took a lot to push him. He was even though he was kind of loud and abrupt, but he was very patient. He didn't have a temper. He was a great father. We got some good whippings, as I'm sure you did along the way. But
Actually, I was pretty lucky. I think my mom hit me one time, but it was with the Buick.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No. Well, but Brad, you've been a heck of a little entrepreneur yourself, and I want to come back to the Bessonnets. Actually, before we move on to that, because for those who don't know, that's the Daly family.
The Daly family. Margaret, a lot of people say, well, why do you stay in the car business and so on with everything you got going on around the country? And quite frankly, the car business has led us to so many great people, great employees. I hand everything to the people and the employees and the fun that we've had. It's a lot of work. Of all the businesses that we do around the country, the car business is still the most difficult and
Sure.
integral.
Yeah.
It's very integral. And we have 7,500 customers in our base that we work with around the country, and we had a relationship with Margaret, which was the granddaughter of Marcus Daly.
Right.
And when she passed, it went to Francis Bessonet, which was a nephew, and today it's run by the daughters and son-in-laws, and that I believe. I work with them on different things that we're working on right now that'll have a significant effect on Hamilton and the surrounding area. But they're wonderful people. Yeah.
Well, when we talk about real estate, and that's going to be one of the we are hosting a Emmy-nominated lifestyle, culture, and real estate show called The American Dream, and we're going to be doing an episode on the Daly Mansion. But when you think about the amount of real estate that Daly owned, and of course your family has owned a ton of real estate in the valley, and we're really obviously real estate focused. You guys have done really, I think, the stock farm, notwithstanding, Arrow Hill, for example.
Arrow Hill Ranch.
Yeah, really great quality developments.
Yeah. Arrow Hill and Arrow Hill Ranch. Good CCNRs.
Right.
I think it's the best piece of property for subdivision in Ravalli County. I really do. The prices reflect that.
Right.
But you're right. Selling the land for profit is fine, but it's not really what I've been fortunate enough. That's not what we're all about. We're working right now on a 100-year plan for everything from right here close to town to the Sapphire Mountains to Skelkaho. Obviously, a large parcel of ground. There's several 120s in there.
Right.
We run it as a cattle operation. We've turned down offers from National Geographic to do a full round season like they did on some of the other ranches in Montana. We just didn't want to be hassled with it because we do take it from start to finish. But the point is we are working on a 100-year plan of how we cannot mess up the valley, the land, the water, the wildlife. And so far, we've done a good job with Arrow Hill 1, Arrow Hill 2.
Yep.
The Stock Farm Club is a 2,600-acre parcel, very well done, brings in a significant amount of taxation for Corvallis and Hamilton.
Huge.
It's a big deal. And quite frankly, even the people there are about 3% of my automobile business.
Yeah.
And I'm sure even for Exit that it's probably 2 to 3% of some of your business in some respects.
We've had a good relationship with a lot of folks up there, obviously, and Max has a great relationship. You mentioned Todd Lindsay, who's a member up there.
They're givers. If you look at the Greater Foundation, what they have done, I participate in it. A lot of people participate significantly, not to name any names, but very significantly that helped the ski patrol, the kitchen or things in the Stevensville. The list, the scholarships that it's helped families with, several $1 million has went in, and it's been a win-win-win for this valley.
I think so, without question.
Absolutely.
And there's no real impact on the services in terms of crime, right, and things of that nature. So it's and really heavy duty into the conservation element of it. Let me get back a little bit about your entrepreneurial life. I can remember, I don't know how old you were, but you had a bunch of guys working for you. Kids, you guys were kids. And there was a building, and you had taken the bricks, and you had the guys clean up the bricks. What was the story there?
I used to walk not far from here, just down the street at the original C&M Motor Company. I'd walk as a freshman in high school. I noticed they're tearing down the old courthouse, and I got thinking, this courthouse look at all those bricks. They're valuable, So I made a deal with one of the supervisors there, and I can remember what I paid, and it was quite frankly, it was a horrible deal I made. No, it was. And my father knew about it, and he let me do it. He said, these are cheap. I knew what was going on in his head. He said, this is a cheap education. I paid them $4,000 for this building. They would have paid me $20 to have a place to put it. So I ended up providing a place to put it and paying them $4,000, which, hey, you're learning. I looked at it backwards. But in the long run, I came out. I paid a penny to bonuses to clean bricks, and 2 pennies, sometimes 3 pennies. We could clean them quite quickly through the rubbish, and we sold them all over, and it actually got me through the first year of college.
Really?
Yeah.
But you did it. You were very young. How old were you? Do you
No,
remember?
I was a freshman in high school.
Oh, you were a freshman.
Yeah. So it would have been 1974.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, yeah. I mean,
we come from a family of workers.
absolutely.
I mean, I thought about my father when he passed away. How many times did we float the river fishing? 0. We didn't sit around the kitchen on Thanksgiving talking about, nothing more than we had work to do in business. And my dad, it's 5 a.m. till 9 p.m, 7 days a week. He was not very interested. I mean, I remember I loved to play golf, and I still do.
Sure.
So I'd go to a golf tournament in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, just so excited. But he would come up, we have a couple truckloads of rock that we need to pick before we could go. Well, have you ever tried to play golf after you picked two 12-yard trucks of rock? He didn't want a guy to be good at golf.
Right.
He's only interested in one thing, work. And he was never interested in excuses.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I remember my dad would say, and I had a paper route, and I was writing checks to the Missouli, and I thought I was big time, and I was selling night crawlers and raising red worms for the fishermen, and Dad would say, well, you just keep at it, and then he'd point out, like the Mildenbergers, you get right at it and stay at it. Put your nose to the grindstone.
If that isn't, but you kind of, the harder you work, the luckier you get. But
Yeah.
you have to work smart. We're in the casino businesses, and that we did very poorly. We kind of got knocked over. We started in Bullhead City, ended up in Carson City,
Right.
Orangeby House, different things. But
I have an ashtray from that casino.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, still have it.
Yeah, Mother Lode Hotel and Casino was another one. Yeah, and you learn a lot. Everything looks easy, but I traveled with my father and some pretty smart men all over this planet.
Right.
In my time, and we did about 2% of the country's lumber at one time with Tree Source Corp. And I think back at buying all those sawmills. There's 40 sawmills on the coast, and I thought to myself, I was personally not in on that deal. It was during a time I was in the middle of dissolution in our family for myself in the early 2000s, and
Right.
wasn't able to participate. But it was very ballsy move, and over time, my father figured out when to sell,
Right.
when we're doing well.
Yeah.
And if we wouldn't have sold, we would have taken a significant beating. And and whether it be the hotels or motels or land or buildings or the vineyard in California, he had the ability, and he was a great teacher and had a big personality.
Right.
And a good judgment on partners. We have mostly partners are for dancing, but he had a great ability to judge a partner, and still the ones I have today. I mean, Dave Fisher, he runs 7,000 apartments in the country. And,
Now, was he the one that spoke predominantly at your dad's memorial
that's
out
correct.
at the stock farm?
He was speaking.
Yeah, I loved that. That was just hilarious. He had some great stories.
Yeah, he loved my dad. We met him, actually, we were doing the stock farm golf course layout originally, and we said, who do we know that knows something about golf? So we brought in Dave. He's played more rounds of golf than anybody we knew, and kind of did the original layout until ultimately, through association with Charles Schwab, we said, you know what, we're going to build this golf course. And he goes, yeah, are you? I'd like to take a look. Well, we went from having something we were going to do to a different level, and it kind of got out of control financially to where we had to lay the burden on to somebody that could handle it and stand on Chuck's wallet
Right.
versus ours. But in the long run,
Yeah.
it actually worked, and we maintained the majority of the property around it, and we knew long term that it would be a winner.
Wow.
And it ended up to be a significantly. There's 275 golfers there, and I'd say I have 200 very, very close friends there. We just finished the Bitterroot Cup with 40 from all over the country, and
Right.
to spend 5 days with 40 guys and have the best time you could have.
And really influential people.
Yeah, from every walk of life. We just went to Chicago to a tournament, Whistling Straits, and went up to Alaska fishing.
Right.
20 of us together.
Yeah.
And where do you find those relationships if you didn't have the accessibility of something like that? So I praise the Lord every day that some of these dreams came true on that.
Well, you're doing a terrific job in continuing that legacy, and I can tell you, your father was just phenomenal to me. You know, and my father died. He died at 63, and left me with the business. And your dad was just a terrific advocate. I was 25 years old, and he'd always ask me questions, and of course I thought I knew something, and what I should have been doing is keep my mouth shut and listen to him 100%. But
Well,
he'd ask me.
I still think about the oil deals.
Yeah.
You put us, and, ironic, the oil deals you put us in on gas wells in Pennsylvania.
Well,
I still have them.
Well, oh, do you now?
And I looked at them, and we're not doing well.
Well,
I owe them money every month on their depletion costs.
right, sure. Well, I think Doug Heller was the first one we got into, and I think, and then the guys there kind of went around Doug,
Right.
and Doug said, "Oh my God," he said, "I could have told them that was going to be a bad deal."
Well, we did more wells. We drilled in Greeley, Colorado. Did wells there in the Cabrera and even the Wolf Formation, and that was another learning experience. I've learned one thing about the oil and gas business: you're either in it or you're out of it. Just by the stock ExxonMobil, or ConocoPhillips, they seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they pay a dividends, and you
Right.
don't have to think about it.
That's right.
But I had a lot of fun, and once again, learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never quit learning in this. When you think you kind of really know what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
doing,
Right.
that's when you really have something to learn.
Then something's going to happen if you think you know it all. That's
Right,
for sure.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, Brad, I think we could probably do another couple of hours, but
Oh,
I
boy.
didn't. I only wanted to take 20, 30 minutes today, and I'll bet you we've probably gone into that realm. And in fact, we have. So, as good a spot to stop as any. I really appreciate you being
No,
here.
thank you.
The
It's,
Siphers family, real estate, appreciates
You guys
appreciates
mean a lot
you.
to us. We've been buddies for a long time.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Brad. And catch us on our next podcast, and we'll maybe chat with Brad again on some of the details.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.